Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the Macro Lounge podcast. I am, as always, your co-host, Chris Bold, and again, as always, joined by the stunningly, incredibly talented and carb-depleted Rachel Mead.
Hello, everyone. I am struggling to put together sentences at the moment, so please bear with me.
So basically, Rachel is here for Sparkles only today, and I will attempt to entertain you with my stunning repertoire on today's topic. We are going to be talking about the NZIFBB Natural Pro Qualifier and the NZIFBB 2025 Naturals. And of course, to be remiss, if you're new to the podcast and if you're enjoying it, make sure you subscribe on Spotify and YouTube. It really does actually help reach out to other athletes that are looking to find us. We'd appreciate your support there. Anyway, so NZIFBB this week, Rachel. We had, it was a big day on Saturday. We had the Pro Qualifier for the Naturals, which often is perceived as being the Natural Nationals, but it's not. It's actually the Natural Pro Qualifier. It was open to international athletes, and there was a handful of athletes from Australia, China, I believe there was a couple from the UK, and a few other places around the world. So that was really cool to see international athletes venturing across the Pacific and the Tasman Ocean to join us in the lovely Aotearoa, New Zealand. So just to try and keep it relatively succinct today, guys, I am running off results that I wrote down based on as the judges called them out. So no guarantees that I'm going to get the names or the numbers right, but we're going to do our best shot. And we have photos that we took while we were in the venue, and just wanted to thank the IFBB for dragging me down to the front row. So I was had the best view in the house. So thanks to Mo and Fuad for that. We appreciate the live, so to speak. All right, so who did we have up first, Rachel? We had up women's physique, small class in the naturals. There were two in women's physique. You had Lorna Street in Division A, and then there was Lindy in Division 2, obviously both taking that out. Very, as I said, women's physique, and particularly natural, not a huge division, but the conditioning there was a real good development of shoulders, back, delts, and they had plenty of sparkles on from the bikinis that they had on that day. So we like that division because sparkles were on.
We love a good sparkle.
Next up, we had women's figure. They actually had the masters division. They split that into 35 and 45. So there were 5 in the 35 plus class, and there were 2 in the 45 plus class. There were the 2 front runners in the 35 plus were numbers 4 and 5, Alicia and Kelly. And they really said the judges were really favouring a dense, sharp muscle. Again, lots of sparkles on display in that one. And the conditioning was a lot harder than it was potentially in the 45 plus. But in 35 plus, and third was number 6, Victoria. And then second was number 4, Alicia. And fifth was number 5, Kelly. And then in the 45 plus, there were actually 3 competitors. I wrote down 2. There was number 1, Lorna. And third, second was 8, Kimberly, and 7. And first was number 7, Miranda. We then moved on to the novice class, and novice A and B. There were 3 in A and 2 in B. It seems that the figure girls got the red memo, Rachel. A lot of them were wearing a red bikini, so I thought that was wellness only, but apparently it's slid into the figure category.
Because it's a power color. So if you see like Lindy, I made her suit. It's the black and red blend. I think she was in women's physique. Yeah, it's more, I think figure it's like the black and red, or like just red with another color in it, is maybe some gold. It's a real power color, so it looks really good for figure and women's physique. It's showing strength. So
that would explain the red sparkles for that class. Because in the novice A, the 2 that were leading that one being number 4, Alicia, and number 9, Stephanie, that really had the really vibrant red bikinis with really good conditioning, like particularly through the upper body and the upper back. There was some real good muscle maturity there, and that was really, really good to see. And then in novice B, you had 2. Unfortunately, I didn't get the name of the lady in second place, number 2, and then in first was number 10, Natai. Again, I apologise. I was just writing these names down as if I would read them out. Then open, real big class, open figure, the open A. There were 6 competitors in that one. Real strong conditioning right across the line, I thought. We had in third, we had Stephanie, the little Canadian pocket rocket. And then, second was number 4, Alafia. And then first was number 5, Kelly. As I said, real strong conditioning. Not a big lineup as such, but it was good to see at nationals level that the level of conditioning was raised a bit. And then in B, we had 3 competitors, and taking that out was number 7, Miranda. Unfortunately, I don't believe that they awarded a overall or a pro card in that class. Because if they did, I wasn't paying attention, so I apologise, and you can blame me for that one.
So, guys, in case anyone's wondering why I haven't really said anything, it's because I actually was not there, so I'm just working with the limited photos that I have on my screen. I don't know, my brain is struggling right now, but I was not there. So Chris is mostly going to be going through this today, and if I just notice anything from photos and things I've seen on social media, I will pitch in.
Sure, lots of
delegation today.
Sparkles. All right, next up in the natural, they had Wellness Open A, and actually that was a really good lineup. There were 7 athletes in A, and there were 4 in B. Obviously, in Wellness A, they did not get the Wellness Bikini memo.
They did not. What am I seeing? No red suits? Not a single one?
There was not in A. No, there was no red suits.
No, I see one pink. And the rest are not.
In 4, they did step it up, and we did see... Sorry, not in 4. In Wellness B, they did step it up. We did see some red and the first purple bikini of the day, and we all love a good purple bikini. So that was important. A was probably better conditioned, to be fair. Corrie brought the best condition and an improved package over the regionals. And we love Corrie. She's really... her upper body is just like... She really brought that in tight, and her legs were a lot better conditioned.
The red hair and the green suit.
Red hair and the green suit. Yep. Stage Fairy. We've just been speaking about that. I thought Corrie brought the best condition. Shana was better than she had been at regional. Again, brought that in Wellington, brought that up. Third place was Shannon. I thought Abigail from Christchurch, her conditioning was better than it had been in Christchurch. I know she was very disappointed with what she brought to the regional in Christchurch. She's really, probably out of all of the girls, she's probably got the most what you would call wellness legs, the lower body. Just her conditioning was just not quite there. And she's lovely. I spoke to her after the show as well. And I know she wanted to come to Nationals to kind of redeem the condition that she'd put in South Island. But shout out to Abigail. She did really, really well. But taking that out was number 12, Corrie, which I think was a fairly dominant win there. And you can't deny a stage fairy. That's just the rules around the macro lounge.
It is. Yeah, going into this, there was always going to be a big battle between Corrie and Shannon. And then also later on Holly as well. Those were probably the main contenders going in, and notwithstanding any new people that we haven't seen.
And I thought Shana had brought her conditioning up again, and she's absolutely lovely. She's a crack up. I love Shana. But her conditioning had been brought up again. I think she still needs to bring her lower body conditioning in and a little bit more size in the legs to fill out the wellness profile. But she works with a really good team that really do well in the wellness and DJL pro coaching. So, Jasmine, nobody knows wellness better in New Zealand than Jasmine. So shout out to her and the team there. They did really well. In Wellness B, less mass, probably better conditioning than A as a rule outside of Corrie. And half the girls got the memo, so they were wearing the red bikini. They get gold points for that. Holly, number 18, Holly took that one out. Now, you tell me how somebody can work full-time as a flight attendant, travel around the globe, and still do prep. I'm like...
And also have a child.
And have a child. It's like, you get first place just for that. And
she is legendary. We love Holly.
And her conditioning was improved and stepped up from her previous showing. And again, the overall battle came down between her and Corrie. Corrie took that one out and won her IFBB Pro card. So we say massive congratulations to Corrie, and we really look forward to seeing what she does on pro level as she goes along. So again, well done to all of the wellness ladies. It was a real good solid lineup. We moved next on to the bikini. The first bikini class they brought out was actually junior and masters 35 plus at both ends of the spectrum. I always feel a bit dodgy when we do that. When I was judging, it's like, so you're going to bring out the young ones and put them next to the not so young ones.
It's the senior ones.
It's like, is that fair? Anyway, moving on. So there were 7 girls in junior. It was a really good, solid lineup. That one was probably the shock in that one was Tui Jones, who did not make the top 3. I think she was 4th off my memory. Improved conditioning from the front. She's got that X factor, and I think, it's with her, it's just a matter of time. When she gets it, she's a star in the making. A third was 23 Brianna, 29. Second was 29 Georgia, I thought, again, good potential. I thought her conditioning was a little soft. To be frank, I think her conditioning was a lot soft. And then taking that out was number 27 Zara, who I think projected very, very well. Zara, I believe, is an international athlete. I think she was from China.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with Zara because the others I know. And then Georgia, I love her structure. I love her always stunning. Structure. Yeah. She has a beautiful structure. And I'm looking at the photo here and wow, I'm thinking that's the winner in the middle there.
Yeah.
She is shredded.
Yeah, she was really, like, when she came out, it was like, ooh. She was really, really well put together, like really balanced, really good posing, right level of muscle mass. I thought that maybe they might have dinged her down a little bit because maybe she was a little bit too hard, but they did seem to gravitate towards her quite well. And again, up with the junior girls were also the Masters 35 plus. There were only 3 in the natural division. You had taking out third place was the incredible Shannon Porter, who we love and admire. I still think Shannon's got one of the best front poses. I believe that she needs to bring her muscle mass up in her posterior chain to support. Like, she's got a good wide, like, hip structure is really suited to bikini, but the back conditioning, she just doesn't have the muscle mass to match it, so it just doesn't quite work. But I thought it was a real strong showing for her. Massive improvement in conditioning over the regional in Auckland, so well done, Shannon. And second was number 31, Helen, who took out Wellington, I believe. And then in first place was number 30, Rebecca. I think Rebecca was absolutely stunning. She's really presented very, very well, had a very good balance. Probably a little bit more of the classic, taper that they look for in bikini over Helen, who's relatively straight up and down. So that would be, and also they all had fantastic, fabulous sparkles on. There was a lot of red going on today in bikini.
There was quite a few red suits this year. And quite a few pinks too. Again, like purple seems to have fallen out of favour. Trend, it seems to be like the aqua teal kind of shades for the blues. No royals really.
Yeah.
And then the red. It's like red and shades of teal.
Yeah, that seemed to be the mix of the day. Then what did we have? Then next up we had Novice Bikini A. There were 4 ladies in there. And then Novice Bikini B, there was 1. So they bought those 2 classes out at the same time. So you had, again, it feels like we're always talking about bikinis. You had 24 Alexandra, which is in the red. She would be in the lady on the far left of the first picture. She was a Novice B. She took that out. And then in Novice A, 27 Zara on that one. Zara's got a real strong structure. I thought the conditioning was nice. Probably a little bit soft through the lower body, but that was appropriate for the total condition that she was in. And then 33 Nicola was second, and third was number 34 Simone. Next up was Novice C. There were 4 ladies in that. There was quite a strong focus on shoulders. Like the girls in today seem to be in that show seem to be very dominant in the delts, like real obvious shoulder caps. And I think you had Georgia again in that one, number 28. She was third. 37 was Hattie. And then you had, I believe it was Tasman or Tamsin. Are we having invaded by a cat?
He's climbing on the windowsill.
I was like, what the hell? We're being attacked by a mancoon. I really like Tasman's look.
Was she the one in the purple?
No, I think she was.
Or in the red? Oh, okay, so purple was Hattie?
Yeah, with the very straight dark hair. And she just presented really well. She had really good posing, really good on-stage confidence. Just, I thought that was quite a dominant win for her overall.
Definitely. I think IFBB the past couple of years has been trending towards the bigger shoulders and bigger delts. As someone who lacks delts, I have been noticing it probably more than some.
Yeah,
because it seems as soon as it started, I was like, "Oh shit!" But definitely the IFBB is trending towards rewarding shoulders a little bit more than glutes. I think the past 2-3 years.
Yeah,
whereas back in the day, it was very much they used to call it a glute show.
Yeah.
Now they definitely want it to be very, very balanced, but to make your delts balanced with your glutes, it means your delts have to be pretty bloody big.
Yeah. And it seems to be there's more emphasis now shifting towards the front pose than it is the back pose. It used to be all about the back pose, and now it seems to be you need, like as we talked about in the Olympia episode, you've got the girls with really like predominant glute projection from the side, and you've got the girls which are slightly more balanced, less obvious, and they seem to be rewarding what has a better, if you think from the side on, have a better taper of delt through to glute. I think that's where you're seeing a little bit more glute development. Or certainly that's what was on display in this particular show. In Novice D, there were 3 girls, a bit softer and fuller than the other two classes, not quite the level of definition. Number 30, Rebecca took that one out over 23, Brianna, and third was number 40. Open A, 5 girls in that class. Really strong. 2 of the girls in particular, Mercedes and 27, Zhao Ming, were really, really strong and sort of stood out from the get-go, their conditioning wise and their balance and their posing. And so Mercedes took that one out in number 41, and then 27, Zhao Ming, was in second. Then there were Open B was where it started to get interesting from my personal perspective. We had the stunning Barbara Del Piaz was in that class. I'm just trying to find the pictures of that one. Combined with, there were 6 girls altogether, and the 6 it was a big lineup, but it was really clear where the top 3 were. You had Georgia, again, number 29, who I think stunning. Maybe a little on the small side, but like her conditioning for her delts were improved in this show, I thought. Like they popped a little bit. I don't know if the lighting was really good in this show.
You could tell the lighting is really good. Like I can see it from all the photos. It was fantastic. Yeah. I'm seeing people post their stage shots. It looked amazing.
Yeah, they've definitely upgraded. It was at Auckland Girls Grammar, and you could tell that the lighting rig had definitely be updated, and the guys in the IFBB took full advantage of that. But her Georgia's delts definitely popped a lot more than they had in the last show she was doing. I think it was Waikato off the top of my head. Then you also had number 43, Jim Wang, again.
She looks incredible looking at this photo.
She did look incredible, yeah. But it was pretty clear where they were going. Barbara was perhaps not as hard as she'd been in Auckland, which was good because I was kind of concerned, how is she going to maintain that and not become over-conditioned? She's just absolutely lovely. And she's got a really strong back pose. She has to be careful because her quads, when she's in condition, she is shredded and vascular and really, really hard. Like there's no loose bits on this girl at all. And I think her waist is a little bit square, but she's very, very strong. And as I said, her back pose, she poses her back pose just so well. And that was a
the IFBB has kind of moved away from the teeny tiny waist look as well. Which is great for athletes like Barbara who don't naturally have that really small waist, because it used to be you needed like sub 25-inch waist or you were not going to place well.
Yeah, you needed to be missing a rib.
Pretty much. So now they have kind of gravitated away from that. So girls who aren't as small in the waist department, like you can build yourself up and work around it a lot easier, I think, than you used to. I don't think it matters quite as much as long as you can pose yourself well, which Barbara does.
Yep, she does. Then next up, we had, I have lost it.
The only
novice C. This was the class that we were waiting for. No, hang on, Open C. Chris, what are you talking about? Yeah, Open C. There were 5 girls in that. It really was. It was a mixed bag of conditioning, to be fair. You had some girls that would really step up conditioning-wise from their various regionals. To be even slightly biased, it was pretty much a slam dunk. There were number 44, Natalia, walked out, and it was like...
Game over.
Yeah, mic drop moment.
We are all obsessed with Natalia. We are not biased at all, ever. Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest, no. She did struggle to hold her pump a little bit. They were on stage for quite a long time. But like from the front, her front pose is unbeatable.
Well, I'm looking at her from the back and it was just game over in that back shot from this photo.
She did struggle in her back pose, to be fair. And that was, not in this class, but when we go through to the overall, we'll talk about that.
In this class, it's game over.
Yeah, in this class, yeah. 22, Tamsin, again, really good. 37, Kathy. Again, mixed condition. You went from Natalia all the way through for the 5 girls. The top 3 were definitely the most superior condition, and they all presented really well. And it was like, okay, this is getting interesting. Then in D, there were 6 girls. It was really interesting to see so many of the taller girls. Again, mixed conditioning. The top 2 in particular were on. And then from then on down, the conditioning got a little bit softer. Delts, again, seemed to be the flavor du jour, as in that seemed to be, again, you can only judge on what's put in front of you, right? So if all the girls have got crazy delts, then that's what you're rewarding. But they did seem to be very well-conditioned delts, which really helped exaggerate the whole waist taper and the wide hips, so they were really good. International athlete took that one out from China, Zhu Li. Number 46, followed by 38, Dani, and then in third place was 25. Again, Tui's a star in the making.
And Danny, oh my God, she's
Danny,
incredible.
she
like I've been watching her for a while because she's one of my clients. She is amazing. Like I was just hoping and praying that she was never going to try and compete in ICN, to be honest, because I'm like, I don't want to stand next to her.
Yep, no, don't want to do that.
Her structure is nuts.
Yeah, it was very strong. Then, like, as I said, I've got lots of shows of Class C. As I said, conditioning wise, it was really good. You had I think in fourth place was Adida, took that one out. Improved conditioning over a Waikato that she presented, not as watery, still not as lean as she needs to be in that. So she's been leaner when she won, I think she won Wellington a couple of years ago, but she's got the frame, she's got the X factor there. You can see it. She just needs to get her conditioning right, and then I think she's going to be, she'll come back into the fold as being one to watch. Just wasn't, again, improved, but just wasn't her day. And D, of course, we can't go past without mentioning the absolutely stunning Talia, because we love Talia. And I thought her conditioning again was a step up from Waikato. And if we don't mention her, she'll hunt me down and hurt me.
It's definitely the best look she's ever presented.
Yeah.
Again, so Talia is basically an adopted child into the Bold family. She's been adopted.
She's like the stepchild, really.
Stepchild, we'll go with that.
Yeah, Kurt won't get upset with me for that. And of course she is a Swiftie, so we have to love her anyway.
Yes. But her front shot is just beautiful as well. She has phenomenal structure. She's because she's got a big frame, but also very hourglass frame at the same time. It's very overpowering. Yeah,
she just needs to. Her conditioning was well improved. She had good upper body. Her lower body, I think her upper glutes were a little bit flat. Because of her height, she needs a lot more size in the lower body to compensate for that. But again, I think it was the best we've seen out of her. It's the first time we've seen her in a couple of years, but I thought she did really, really well. And obviously Shannon was in that one as well. As I love Shannon, I think she just needs to bring up. She needs a lot more muscle mass in the lower body.
Same issue. It's very similar issues from those two. Both beautiful front shots, and they just need a bit more work to bring in the rear shot. Yeah,
just more size to let the muscle fill out rather than try and pose it. We came down to the overall. This was it was a tough battle. It was probably the overall in naturals was probably one of the strongest classes we've seen in quite some time. And you had 3 front runners there that were clearly going to be pushing the issue for the pro card. That would have been, I'm trying to get to the right photo. So you had the Open B winner Barbara, Open C winner Natalia, Open D winner 46. I'm sorry, I believe it's Julie from China. And of course, there was also the number 41 Mercedes from Open A. So real good representations across the board. It would have been a tough one. To be fair, I personally thought it was between 42 Barbara and 44 Natalia. Natalia messed up her back pose. And we know we all love Natalia, and she is definitely a star in the making. It's just not a case of when, it's a case it's a case of when for her. And this was her second show she's ever done. She made a bit of a rookie mistake when going to the back of the stage when the judging panel told her to take her medal off, and she just sort of like trotted off to the back of the stage and forgot she was being judged. And that kind of was like the nail in the coffin, I would say. So they announced the top 2 in that class, and second was Barbara. They had to announce 2 because if the first one fails the drug test, and the second one wins. And then the taking out their pro card in that class was number 46 from China, Julie. Very strong front pose, very strong delts. Conditioning was really, really good. Personally, I thought her glutes were a bit lacking. I thought she posed her glutes really well, almost as well as Barbara did, and definitely better than Natalia did. But Natalia, both Rhiannon, her posing coach, and myself, we have spoken to her about that. So, yeah, took it on the chin. She did well. But the Julie was a very strong, and for a tall bikini athlete too, she carried herself really, really well. So that was a well-earned pro card victory for her. We only cried a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, just looking at the photos, I kind of thought the same thing. But again, I wasn't there in person, so I did not see anything. I'm just looking at photos. It was interesting to see, just if I'm looking at all of them together, the Julie was the one who was the most different, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like if the other 3 are very similar, and then Julie was very different, depending on how the judging goes, sometimes they get thrown out or sometimes they get rewarded. So I'm wondering if potentially she got rewarded for being that standout, like being quite different.
Yep.
Potentially. But yeah, I did think I was kind of looking more at Barbara and Natalia as well. But again, it is what it is on the day.
It is what it is. And that's look, at the end of the day, both Barbara and Natalia look stunning. Both of them probably
And they will get their pro cards eventually.
Yeah. And both of them probably presented the best package that they've ever done. And next year, it'll probably be a repeat again. They'll both come back. They'll both be improved. And, it's
Natalia's first ever season. Holy heck.
Yeah. So
if she had one, actually, we wouldn't have had a situation like that, I think, since Kate doing one regional show and then,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's like 2019.
She'll get there, and so will Barbara, to be fair. Final women's class for the day was Fit Model. Again, the newest class. Wasn't a huge showing in Fit Model. There was one in junior, number 48, Dana. She obviously took that one out. In Masters, you had number 49, Sarah. She took that out over number 50, Samantha. Again, I've said this time and time again. This is Sarah's class. This is where she should be. Probably, it's almost like they created this class for her. And I thought she looked absolutely stunning. She also took out the Fit Model B class, which there were 3 girls in it. There were 2, in A. 51 Accra won that over 52 Victoria. Fit Model C had 4. Taking that one out was number 56, Chantel. Again, I think Chantel's another classic example of Fit Model was built for her. She had done Bikini relatively recently. I believe she did Fit Model.
She did one of the regional shows.
One of the regionals, yeah. And it's not like she changed hugely to go from Bikini to Fit Model. It was just Fit Model's more of a natural fit for her. So she took out class C quite comfortably. And in the overall, she took out the pro card, and it was well deserved. It was really between her and Sarah, and you could have made an argument either way, but I think both of them were good examples of Fit Model. Also, you could argue that Chantel's posing was just a little bit crisper, a little bit cleaner, a little bit she just fit that. She nailed down the posing for Fit Model. So well done to her. And I know she's been competing for a while, but to finally take out her pro card, we extend our congratulations to her and her team. And as always on the Macro Lounge, we stop the coverage there because from then on in, they don't wear sparkles. And as we all know, we don't care if you don't wear sparkles. I would like to point out, however, there was a really, really strong men's lineup in all the men's classes. Some of the level of development and musculature, presentation. I hate to say this for everybody else who competes naturally in other natural federations outside of the IFBB. This is what you have to aspire to. Okay, these guys were good. But enough said about the boys because, again, the lack of sparklage, so we stop covering. So next we move on to the Nationals, or as we like to say, the big show for the day. Figure wasn't a huge lineup. There were 3 in Masters, 1 in Novice A, 3 in Open A, and 2 in Open B. This one was always going to come down to the 2 winners from Open A and Open B. In Masters 35 plus, number 100, Carolyn Duff took that one out. She's a weapon. She's got such
absolutely incredible.
She's just like, her development in the last couple of years has just been astounding, and she well deserved that placing. At 45 plus, number 101, Kamala took that out. In Novice A, you had Victoria Wu, who trains out with Muscle Club in Albany there. Beautiful structure, like really nice shoulder, waist, V-taper. Got that nice X shape. Conditioning's just a little soft. And it is difficult to maintain that level of conditioning, but I think she did an excellent job through there. Then in B, you had Carolyn Duff took that one out. Sorry, in A, you had 105 Rata Webb. Rata had a battle to get to the show. She had some serious health issues not that long ago and was given, essentially, my understanding is a dispensation to go straight from regional to nationals without actually having to do the regionals. And she stepped on, she changed her hair color. She had long, straight, dark hair. Again, really nice shape, really good muscle bellies through the thighs, shoulders, back, really, really, really well presented. And then it came down to her and Carolyn for the overall. And that would have been a tough call for the judges. I think they both had real good strengths one way or the other. Carolyn being taller, kind of like to some extent overpowered Rata, but I think Rata presented herself very well. And I would say again with Rata, it's probably a case of when rather than if. But in this case, Carolyn Duff took that one out. And again, well-deserved, presented well, lots of sparkles, so that was cool. And but really nice, just balanced development. So well done to Carolyn for that one. Wellness was smaller in Nationals than it was in Naturals. There was only 4 girls in Wellness A.
When I saw Corrie take out the Naturals card, I was actually very intrigued to see how the afternoon would go because she would have been one of my picks for the afternoon show as well. So I was like, ooh. how is this going to go? What's going to happen here? So that was a very interesting one that she kind of got taken out of the picture for this show. I mean, I think she technically could have done it.
Yeah, she could have. But it's kind of one of those things about, what's the point?
Exactly. So yeah, that was a very interesting one because that threw a little bit of a spinner into the mix of like, ooh, does that mean who's next?
Yeah, it did. It sort of opened it all up a little bit. And then, so yeah, that was quite interesting. But as I said, I think wellness was interesting. Open A, there was 4 ladies. Mix of conditioning again from soft to hard. 108, Rochelle took that one out. Rochelle's jacked. You know, she has got muscle density, like thick muscular core. Her upper body is probably too muscular really for wellness. I personally think she would be better off in women's physique, but I know she doesn't want to do that. So, you know, and she also struggled with her posing a little bit. You could tell she was cramping up in the side pose. Her leg was really shaking badly and starting to cramp. So she was really struggling with that. But again, stunning athlete, skin tone, bikini, everything was on point. And wellness B, you had solid conditioning. Tegan had better tie-ins and posing, to be fair, and 111 Jana. We've talked about this in other episodes, but her walk was weird, which wouldn't have helped. But Tegan took that one out and then went into the overall between herself and 108 Rochelle. 110 Tegan took that one out fairly comfortably. I thought she was a more thorough representation of what wellness is or is supposed to be.
It was interesting that the other girls from the morning didn't do this one. Or did they?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I thought they would have, but neither
Holly
of the girls.
And Shanna would have done really well in this one as well.
And so would Corrie if she had chosen to do it. Because they both.
I mean, there wasn't much point to Corrie doing it, but Shanna and Holly, I thought that was interesting that they didn't do.
Yeah, I thought so too. Again, they could have, and I just wrote this down wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't.
I mean, yeah, I actually have no photos to look at right now either, so I am completely blind. Yeah. I'm going off the results that Chris wrote down.
Yeah, which we all know, don't trust my handwriting because mine's crap. And for some reason, we kind of like, we'll have to take this up with management because she stopped taking photos after that. We moved on. We'll blame the producer. She's not here. A bikini, I thought junior bikini again was really good. There was a mix. There was 4 girls in that. Mix of conditioning from soft through to conditioning. There was a nice balance in general. Good skin tones, good posing. Third place was Tui Jones. I'm sure Tui's probably a little bit probably disappointed in her showing. She shouldn't be, because again, she's stunning and she presents as bikini. Probably if she'd done Fit Model, she would have cleaned that up, to be fair. But in second place was number 115 Georgia, and then 112 Sinead took that one out. Masters was a really strong lineup. 6 girls in the 35 plus and 1 in the 45 plus. There was a mix of condition in the Masters. You had a mixed level of muscularity, mixed level of fullness. They seemed to really not be rewarding the slightly more muscular or harder girls. They weren't looking for the full and slightly softer with muscle. They tended to be looking for, it seemed to be a relatively toned down version. And that didn't play well for Fiona Crawford, who I still say has got the best back shot in the country. Brought in a much more improved front shot. I know she's been working really hard on that, and was a lot fuller and softer looking than she had been in Wellington. But for love of money,
interesting because she almost has similar strengths and weaknesses to the winner from the natural show in the morning.
Yeah, she does. Probably, and I've spoken about this with Fiona in particular, her least favourite part of the sport is being on stage. So, which is kind of like, hey, so what she has a tendency to do is she goes straight to the outside and stays there. So it's almost like we sort of talk about, like, you need to force the judges to look at you and then let them move you if they want. But again, I thought she presented really well. And she was in 5th. And 4th place was 117 Tamsin, who I think presented a different look than she had last year. Wasn't as hard and muscular as she was last year, a little bit more toned down. In some ways, you could argue that she redeemed herself over her 2024 placings, so we take our hat off to her. She struggled a little bit in posing, but again, her confidence on when she poses is a little bit, if she gets thrown off, she can sort of knock her confidence a bit, which is a shame because she's got the structure to do it.
Oh, she's phenomenal. Like, there was no redemption needed there. Even last year, like, she looked freaking amazing.
No, she looked phenomenal. Then you had 118 Jane in 3rd, who I thought was presented really well. 119 Gemma, and then 122 was Alicia. Alicia, I thought she was probably the softest, of not softest, but she didn't have quite the level of muscularity as the other girls. And that was more what the judges were looking for. She presented phenomenally. It was a really good overall look, and a really well-earned victory for her. As I said, Masters was a tough class, and it's cool because you're starting to see these athletes either A, come into the sport later, or B, stay around longer. They tend to have, the Masters girls tend to have a little bit more muscle. They tend to have their muscles a little bit denser, a little bit grainier, because they've got the miles on the clock. It sounds bad, but they've put in the time, so they're not going to look the same as, say, one of the junior class bikinis. And Camille took out 45 plus. Then we had novice A. There were, I don't know, I can't read my own writing. I said 2,
Is
but
that
there
the
was
same
3.
name? You've spelled it differently.
Yeah. It could have. I was doing this phonetically. It's all right. I was like,
guys,
I'm listening to Farwood going, huh? What? It's like,
it's
geez.
really funny seeing how these have been written down the way that Chris has been hearing them. Like looking at the spelling. I'm sorry, we might have to post a couple of it if we know any of them. If we find it's really funny seeing how they've been spelled.
Yes. All right, smarty pants. You're the one.
Anyway,
you're the one who got the figure class wrong in the ICN champs.
That's true.
Anyway, moving on. The 121, Camille, I'm going with. I'm probably wrong. Was third in novice A, taken out by 123 Nicola. That was, I thought the novice class was probably, novice A was probably the weakest of the day. Novice B, 24 Bridget. I thought she presented really well. Novice C, there were 2 girls, and then novice D, there were 4. Again, it was really interesting that the taller classes were well represented today. As we talked about previously, Rachel, it's like a couple of years ago, you weren't seeing anybody outside of C. It was pretty much, there were 3 classes and that was it.
Yeah, we were sometimes worried that we'd be the only people on stage. Like me and Talia, obviously, we've been tall and around for a little while, but a lot of the time we would be going to our shows being like, oh my God, I hope I'm not the only one in my class.
Yeah.
Because everyone would be in class B and C, or A.
And there was, and it's interesting, there was not so many in the shorter classes. But in novice C, you had 114 Sophie and 125 Alice took that one out. In novice D, there was a mix of over and under conditioned. Personally, whilst I love Joya's structure, again, I felt she was over conditioned. She was too depleted.
I think she did fill out quite a bit since the regional.
Yeah, she had. But I think she could do with a little bit more muscle. She's a smaller girl anyway for a taller girl. But she well deserved that place. Over 128 Claudia and 127 Megan. Open A was really good. It was full with tight conditioning. There's only 2 girls in that. 123 Nikki, 18 Jane. Open B, that was an interesting one because it was 50-50 on really toned versus really soft. So like 129 and 115 were quite similar. Bridget was a little fourth in this class was actually, or fifth, sorry, was Fiona again. Probably had the best tie-ins, but again, couldn't get a look in. So Barbara Del Piers took this one out over 115 Georgia. And that was a really, really well-earned placing for Barbara.
That is interesting, rewarding Barbara, but then not rewarding Fee at the same time.
Fee's, to be fair, she probably got more muscle than all of them combined. And that's not what the judges are looking for. Open C was probably the class of the show, to be fair. There were 6 girls in that, and 1 through 4 could have taken it. It was a really, really tough class. You had, sorry if I say it wrong, you had 133 Sian, Shan?
I think it's Shan.
Yeah, who, stunning. Her legs have just like, the improvements that her and Frank and the team have made over the last couple of years. Again, with her, it was always just a case of just when, not if. She really, really bought it. 125 Alice was in this class again. She was next level. Had 132 Natalia. And in this particular class, Natalia came in third. Probably could have, I would have thought I personally had her second. I didn't think she was going to beat Sian. But all 3 of those girls, stunning, strong in every aspect. But it was a well-earned and well-deserved victory for Sian to take that one out. In D, 7 girls in that. Nice shape across the board. Probably not as conditioned or developed as Division C. Third place was 128 Claudia, second place 126 Georgia, followed by first place 112 Shanae. And that really, the overall came down to between Sian and Barbara, and to be fair, I don't really think that was an issue. This was Sian's show, and she was stunning. She was beautiful. Her posing was good. Her hair was on point. Her bikini was good. Her tan was good. She just
I believe that was
really
actually Kate Carroll's bikini from her first US tour.
well. Okay. Oh,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but just looking at it and also knowing that she's posed by Kate as well.
Yeah. Again, well deserved. Nobody was shocked by that placing. She, and I know she's already signed up to do the TOC Pro Show in New Zealand, and I think she's doing Hawaii.
She's doing Hawaii,
yeah, she's doing.
Which is exciting. Two pro shows.
She'll probably step in quite comfortably into the pro ranks. She's got that physique. She's been around for a long time. She's really, really earned it. So that was well done for her. Fit model, small outing. There was 1 in junior, 3 in B, 3 in C. Taking out junior was 136 Dana. In B was 200 Jessica. And then in C was 143 Lou Mullen, who took that one out. There was a crossover from Lou from Bikini. It was her first showing in Fit Model in a stunning suit made by Accentuate, of course.
Yes, this was exciting because I think I was one of the first people to find out that she was doing it. And I was like, yes, I know who's winning. And then people would be like, oh, so who do you have picked for winning Fit Model? And I'm like, I can't tell you.
Because nobody knows she's competing in it. No, I thought she, considering as it was a relatively quick turnaround from Bikini to Fit Model, I think she had the posing down really well. Yeah, a week. And she presented well. She got the posing well. I would have thought she might have been a little bit excessively muscled for it. But again, Fit Model seems to be
the States, though.
Yeah.
A lot of the international competitors actually almost make Lou look small.
Yeah.
The pro card winners. So it's going to be interesting to see how the pro shows go next year because you're seeing a huge range. So you're seeing athletes that make Lou look very, very small. And you're also seeing athletes that make her look huge. So it's a very, very big range at the moment. I do think that she's a really good fit for it, though.
Yeah, I would say so.
The biggest thing for her, I think, was just she needed to just soften up and fill out a little bit between her. Because, she only had like a 1 week turnaround here. Yeah. Between Bikini. So, yeah, she did work on making sure she tried to fill out a little bit to not be as hard.
Yeah, no, I think she did it really well. It was a really good victory for her. And also, to be fair, it was great to see her finally achieve her pro status. So both her and Ash now both pro. So that's pretty cool. And we'll be interesting to see what she does with it going forward.
I think a lot of girls are going to be looking at switching to Fit Model now after Lou's done it.
Yeah, I think
she is going to be a very big turning point, and especially in New Zealand Fit Model, because before this, we were seeing a range of looks, but I think that a lot of people didn't think that they could ever fit into Fit Model, and then now we've got Lou, who's very well-known bikini competitor, same with Chantel, very well-known, high placing, both of them bikini competitors, who have both now just gone pro in Fit Model. So I think we're going to see a very big rise in Fit Model numbers next year.
I think next year we'll see a lot of the girls that sort of held off this year and like, I don't want to do Fit Model because of X, Y, and Z. I think they're now going to go, hang on, okay, I can do it. And I think that bodes well for Fit Model in season 2. So, yeah. Again, didn't cover the guys, sorry, but I can tell you there was a phenomenal lineup of all of the males classes from men's physique, classic physique, and bodybuilding. There were some real tough battles for the overall titles in each of those. And every single one of the gentlemen out there deserved their pro status. From men's physique, classic, through to open bodybuilding. And it was good to see the numbers in men's bodybuilding up that stage. So that pretty much wraps us up for the NZIFBB Nationals here. They do have 2 more shows coming up. They've got the TOC coming up next weekend on the 1st of November, and then following
we've also got a pro show for Bikini.
Pro show. Which we have pro show for Bikini. So there's a good lineup for that. I think there's 8 to 10 girls from New Zealand, Australia. I think there's a girl from France in it as well, and possibly one from China as well. So that will be exciting. That's the same day as the ICN's Oceania, which is a Pro-Am show. And then the last show for the NZIFBB will be the Most Muscle, which is a pro show as well, which is up here in Auckland. So all in all, I thought it was a really good show. There was a really, all of the athletes stepped up their conditioning pretty much across the board. The lighting, as I said, was excellent, next level. Good turnout from the audience. So yeah, all in all, I think it was a good showing for Nationals, and congratulations to every single athlete that stepped on the stage that day, and look forward to seeing what they all bring next year. But again, that brings the conclusion for this week's episode of the Macro Lounge podcast. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure that you like and subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, and leave us a comment on Instagram if there's anything you'd like us to help you with. But on behalf of myself and the stunningly carb-completed Rachel Mead, thank you all very much, and we will catch you next Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Have a great week, everybody.
Enjoy.